In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the Tech Zone.
Welcome back to the Tech Zone. It's me, Paul Amadeus Lane. Thank you so much for tuning here on ABC News Radio KMET. So happy to have you with me. Again, like I start off each and every subject, wishing you and your family safety during COVID-19. And those of you who have been personally affected by COVID-19, maybe a sickness or death, know that you're in my thoughts and prayers. And we look forward to the day when we can go on just with some normalcy. Things may never be the same, but we can make the best out of a situation. Hopefully it does, but if not, we definitely are with you as you're dealing with trials and tribulations. Know that we are with you. All right, so how has COVID-19 changed the broadcast industry, the broadcast game? Well, you may notice that some of your favorite personalities are now doing it from their home studios, their home office. And I'll let you know a little secret. About 6 years ago, I had this epiphany. And epiphanies are wrong, especially when it comes from me. But I said, because of my disability, I wanted to make sure that I had a home studio inside my house that I can broadcast live from, I can do live reports from, and people thought I was crazy. But I've had this set up for 7 years. So I've been able to just continue on without any hiccups. And it's good to see that some of my colleagues in the industry have adapted to how things are done now. And my next guest is going to talk about what her experience now while we're in COVID-19 and being in the broadcast industry. And I'm so happy to have right now a person I had the opportunity to meet at CES 2020. Amazing journalist. She's good at what she does. I wanted to have her on to talk about the changes that we see now in journalism and the way that we cover it. Jennifer Zarate from CRN. She is a reporter, video journalist, you name it, she's there. Jennifer, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
It is my honor to have you and see you virtually. We saw each other in Vegas face to face, but now everything's virtually now, which is cool because we're obeying the laws of the land, right?
That is true, and we did have the pleasure of meeting in person when I was covering CES, one of the very first conferences that I was set to cover when I started the job.
You know, I was talking before I brought you on to everyone out there about how things have changed for me personally with covering different events. In March, March was like the busy time for me. March through September would be very busy, gone 2 or 3 weeks out of the month. But now things have changed because of COVID-19. And Jennifer, how has just our new normal changed the way that you and all of us are doing journalism right now?
It's exactly that, adjusting to this new normal where we're having to work remotely. And it's interesting because you're really seeing the role of technology in setting up these work from home environments. And, you know, we're all going through it. So when it comes to the day-to-day, it's a bit different. You know, when I'm out in the field, out on the road at these conferences, you know, you're in person, you're, you know, running around with all the equipment, conducting interviews. It's an entirely different setting and different workflow. Now having to work from home, you know, I set up a camera to get myself in a wide shot and, you know, different studio A and Bs is what I've been calling it around my house, just to kind of, you know, have some variations of how I conduct my interviews. But, you know, it's all this. It's via video conferencing, Zoom, for example, one of the platforms that we use, and we conduct the interviews now via that. And it's been interesting. I feel like it's even more personable because it's more intimate. You're when you're conducting these interviews, you're inside these people's homes, whether it's their office, their library, wherever they've set up for the interview. So it's been pretty interesting to see how we're all
Now,
adjusting to this now.
that's so true. Now before COVID-19, the pandemic reared its ugly
Hmm.
head, did you ever do a lot of work from home, just editing, or did you do filming at home too? 'Cause trying to see, did you have to make any adjustment or things like that, or was it kind of like sliding into like what we have now and what we have to do?
I would go into the office, send emails, make calls, kind of work out my schedule for when I was on the road, and attending these conferences. And so there was that exchange, which now is, I'm not flying anywhere or having to need to be anywhere in terms of that regard, but just, having these conversations more through video conferencing. And in terms of the day-to-day workflow, I kind of have a day or two where I might have, 4 or 5 Zoom calls, Zoom interviews. And, then I'll have a day where I call it my edit day, and I'll go through and I'll start putting my stories together, or, same day. So it's kind of what you make it. I'm kind of learning as I go, just trying to get as much content out there as possible, getting to talk to as many people as I can. So sort of from the normal, it is of course different because now I'm having to report from, my home rather than be out in the field. So that I think is the big difference that I see is how I conduct my interviews and where I do them, because now it's in the comfort of my own home and via Zoom. So
I love it. I love it. It's kind of like I was telling one of my friends who does PR for Warner Brothers. I said it's kind of a blessing and a curse having a home set up. The blessing is you can roll out of bed and you can do your thing. The curse is when people know that you're at home. Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do this story? Can you do this story? But it's a good problem to have. That's what I say.
yeah, it's actually funny that you mentioned that. I feel that I'm busier now than I was before. In the weeks I was getting set to, what was it? End of March was HP reInvent, and as we all know, that was canceled. And so, how I prepare for that is entirely different than sort of what I'm juggling day to day to set up calls and interviews and, work up stories that, I'm planning to have for the remainder of the week, what I'm going to be publishing Monday through Friday. And so that has been different, but a great tip from, fellow coworkers, because the great thing about working for, the channel company is they have that in place about working remotely. We have people that are all over the place in, Ohio and California, in Pennsylvania, so in Long Island and New York. So it's cool to see that we've already have had this kind of in place. But now, the few tips they've told me is, when you get up, get ready for the day if you can, because that'll just kind of help you get out of the sluggish mode of yeah, no, I can be in sweats today. So
Yeah, of binge watching and gummy bears. That's what I say. It gets us out of that mode. But you think back to when you were in journalism school. I think back when I was in school as well. We had no idea that we would be dealing with the pandemic that we're dealing with right now. But then showing how our industry has kind of changed really overnight. I remember for NBA games before they suspended NBA games, they didn't allow media into the locker rooms anymore before they did a suspension. But that was kind of when the tide changed for us who are in the broadcast journalism field, that this may be our new normal for a while. And I love the fact that you and your team members and people that I know are embracing this change and making the best out of it. And I don't know if you have noticed this though, but have you seen content just being a lot more better and just more energetic when one's in our field?
I do have to say that is true. It's great to see the engagement. The fact that we are home and maybe not having to deal with those commute times of driving to and from work. So you're engaging more on all of these platforms, social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, there's more engagement. And so it's been fun to see how these stories now come alive. There's more, conversations, more comments that are attached to a story, more views. And so, that's a positive thing too. And in terms of reaching out, because we're all sort of in the same boat, it's been great to see that people have been responsive, all wanting to share their stories, find a way to help out. And I think that's what's been so powerful in a lot of the pieces that I've been working on and that I've been able to put out, is seeing how everyone is really stepping up to the cause and doing what they can, because it's exactly that. We've never seen anything like this before. And so long as that we all, do our part and do what we can, that's the best that we can do.
I love it. I love it. Well said. Well said. And you've done some incredible stories over the last a few days. The one that caught my eye was talking about Zoom, and the way that you handled that story was very, very classy, very informative. And talk about the balance that you have to strike when you are covering a story to make sure that it's informative to the listeners and the viewers, so that we can make our own informed decision, because we're not trying to control people's minds or anything. But that's what I really appreciate about your style. How did you learn that balance?
Well, thank you so much for that. That's something that was instilled, I feel, in me so long ago. My love for journalism began in high school for me. And it was there that it's like you're made aware of what it is to be a journalist, what's your duty, what's your responsibility, the privilege that you have to do the job that you have. But then again, back to that responsibility, and that's being unbiased, really being able to wrap your head around a story to see it from all different, points of view, different perspectives. And then I myself, I'm like that to begin with. So, in any situation, I feel like I can see every different side of things. And so, I do exactly that. Have an open mind. I want to hear your point of view. I want to hear your perspective about what's going on, and if I have tough questions for you, that's up to you to answer or not, because it's just as well people who say, I don't wish to comment. That says something in and of itself as well. So being able to have this balance is just, being able to have that people aspect too, engaging in a conversation. And I always tell folks, before I conduct my interviews, I'll walk you through it. I'll walk you through the questions I'm going to ask. I'm not trying to do a aha, I gotcha, or like surprise you. So it's just having an honest conversation. And if there's any questions, comments, or concerns they want to address, they're more than welcome to at the end of the recording, of course, and we can address those. But I think kind of approaching it in that regard is why, I've seen and why I feel I've had the success of kind of having people open up to me and really participate in, in whatever conversation we're having, the story that we're covering them.
Jennifer Zarate, great catching up with you, my friend. And hey, looking forward to seeing you hopefully in January once all this subsides, so we can go back and have fun in the tech wonderland, which is CES.
Yeah, all the crazy chaos of all the techie stuff. I love it.
You got it. Stay well, my friend.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Huge shout out to my buddy, Jennifer Zarate, ZRN. Thank you so much for joining me, Jennifer. Jennifer's an awesome tech journalist. She knows what she is doing, and appreciate all her candor and just sharing with me what COVID-19 has been for her in the industry. All right, when we get back, how technology has helped this one company to continue on during COVID-19. You want to know what I'm talking about? You have to stay tuned. Be right back after these messages.
In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.